sweaty cup. Whinnying on bedtime story. Oh bother, someone's afraid of the dark. By Betty Brenny. Illustrated by Darrell Baker. The sun was setting as Winnie the Pooh and Piglet the pig headed home after a day of exploring in the 100-acre wood. Piglet, it was a wonderful day, right? Said Pooh. Of course, every day is wonderful if you have a jar of honey. Pooh peered into the jar he was carrying. Oh, bother, he said. My jar is full of honey is almost empty. Look, Piglet said. Tiger and Owl are pitching a tent under the trees. Tiger and Owl are pitching a tent under the trees. Hi, Pooh and Piglet, Tigger shouted to them. I've talked Owl into camping out tonight. That sounds like fun, doesn't it, Piglet? Said Pooh, as he stopped to wave at their friends. No, it doesn't, said Piglet answered quickly, and he went right on walking. Pooh caught up with Piglet. Soon they reached a fork in the path. It was time to say goodnight, but Piglet did not want Pooh to leave. Walk home with me, Piglet begged Pooh. You can sleep over. We'll camp inside tonight, please. Pooh had never heard of camping inside before. I have a jar of honey at home, offered Piglet. Sounds like a good idea, said Pooh, patting his tummy. Let's go. As they arrived at Piglet's house, Pooh stopped and pointed up to the sky. Look, Piglet, there's the first star, said Pooh. Let's get inside, quick, said Piglet, whose only thought was that night was getting dark really fast. I'd have to make a wish, Pooh protested as Piglet pulled him in the door. When they were inside the house, Pooh was surprised to see Piglet push a large table in front of the door. What are you doing? He asked. You cannot be too careful, Piglet answered. Oh, said Pooh. He wasn't sure what Piglet meant, but he didn't ask any more questions. He was too busy wondering about Piglet's jar of honey. Pooh and Piglet settled down for a pleasant evening at home. First, Piglet worked on a jigsaw puzzle, and Pooh ate honey. The puzzle reminded Piglet of something, so he told the story about the 3 little pigs, and Pooh ate honey. Then Pooh told about the huge honeybee that he had followed the previous spring. I knew there would be lots gallons of honey waiting for me because the bee was this big, Pooh said, holding up his paws. Then sadly, the bee disappeared. After Piglet told Pooh how much he enjoyed the honeybee story, the 2 friends sang songs. Before Pooh knew it, the honey was all gone and he was feeling very tired. I think I better go to sleep, he said. However, Piglet still didn't want to go to bed. He suggested that they finish the evening with a game of acorn checkers. Pooh tried to play, but he just couldn't stay awake any longer. All right, Pooh, Piglet said with a sigh. I guess it is time to go to bed. Before they went to bed, Pooh and Piglet brushed their teeth. Standing at the wash basin, Piglet suddenly saw a horrible sight. It was the shadow of a huge creature with a giant stick in his hand. Pooh, whispered Piglet, trembling. There's a horrible lump I mean, Huffalump. Oh dear. Well, something awful's about to get us. Get us! Pooh looked around and saw a shadow on the wall. He waved his toothbrush at it. Look, it's waving back at me, said Pooh. Why, it is me. Actually, it's my shadow. Oh, said Piglet. I guess you're right. At last, Pooh and Piglet were ready to go to sleep. I think I'll just check under the bed for Heffalumps. Piglet, do you see any? Pooh asked. No, Piglet, but that doesn't mean they're not there. Piglet climbed into bed at last. Pooh yawned and switched off the lamp. You can't turn off the lamp, Piglet said, turning it back on again. We need it on to keep the Heffalumps away. But Piglet, you blocked the door and the Heffalump can't get in, Pooh reminded his friend, and he gave Piglet a reassuring pat. I hope you're right, said Piglet uncertainly as he switched off the lamp. Pooh fell asleep immediately, but Piglet stayed awake. Pooh, he whispered. I hear something. Pooh, he said. Pooh, he whispered. I hear something. Pooh did not answer. Pooh, whispered Piglet, this a little louder this time. It's definitely a Huffalump something. Pooh still did not answer. So Piglet gave Pooh a push and said, there's a Huffalump right in this room. Don't you hear him going tick-tock, tick-tock? Oh, said Pooh. Oh, wait, oh, yes, I do. Don't worry, Piglet. I'll get him. Pooh wrapped his pillow, stood up, and pounced on the Huffalump. Got you, he shouted. Then Pooh switched on the lamp and lifted up the pillow. No, said Pooh. A Huffalump looks just like an alarm clock. Oh, it is an alarm clock, said Piglet, very relieved. Pooh thought for a moment. Piglet, he said, if I didn't know better, I think you are afraid of the dark. Well, there are scary things in the dark. In the dark, Piglet replied, like Heffalumps and jaguars. But Piglet, we haven't actually seen a Heffalump, have we? Said Pooh. We thought we saw one, but it was really a shadow, Piglet admitted. We thought we heard one, but it was actually the clock. Piglet continued, I guess Huffalumps are just my imagination. I guess that's true, said Pooh. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. Suddenly there was a knock at the door. Piglet didn't want to answer it, but Pooh said he would go and ask who was there. Piglet decided it would be safer if he followed Pooh. Who is it? Pooh asked at the front door. From outside a voice answered, it's Tigger and Owl, Pooh. Suddenly Piglet hit on the table and began shaking with fear. Tigger and Howl. Tigger and Howl. Then, boo! He whispered. That's worse than a Heffalump. Pooh was puzzled. That didn't sound like a howling boo. He said out loud, I think it's someone we know. Think. You're right, said Piglet. I've heard that voice before. Sounds like Owl, said Pooh. He was saying, it's Tigger and Owl, Pooh. If it's only Tigger, Owl, and Pooh, Tigger and Owl, there's nothing to be afraid of, said Piglet, greatly relieved once more. Pooh helped Piglet push the table away. When they opened the door, Owl and Tigger were standing outside in the light of a firefly lantern. Come on out, said Tigger, bouncing excitedly. There's something you've got to see. Isn't it awfully dark out there, said Piglet, who was a little bit nervous. But wait until you see the lights in the sky, said Owl. When Piglet and Pooh stepped outside, they saw that the sky was filled with glittering stars. Those stars in the sky are constellations, said Owl. He said, looking at the sky. There's the big bear, and over there's Little Bear. Oh, yes, said Pooh, and I think I see a big honey jar and a little honey jar. Show in that terrific picture. Tigger bouncing impatiently. Piglet, said Owl, pointing upward. We think that constellation right up there looks like you. Why, it does look like me, cried Piglet, staring at the night sky and forgetting all about being afraid. The four friends watched in the starry sky for a long time. Pooh put his arm around Piglet. No need to be afraid of the dark anymore, he said. Now that you know you have a friend, that you have a friendly Piglet looking down on you. You're right, said Piglet, and that Piglet doesn't look scared of the dark at all. Today we are done this is the story that this is the only story we will read tonight. And it is read by Howard. Sweaty Cop.